Hi everyone, this is Sonia, your friendly neighborhood archivist and family librarian. I'd like to introduce you to the Edwards Family Archive, a project I've been working on with my dad for about a year. This archive contains more than 600 artifacts, photos, letters, memorabilia, news articles, memoirs that were contained in the infamous trunk that was left in Joyce and Ed's attic and given to my parents when we moved out of Bexhill Drive. This archive is intended to connect our family to these artifacts no matter where you are. Now, I'd like to show you a little bit about how to navigate this archive. It is in many ways kind of self-explanatory, but I think it's always helpful to just see a little bit about how this operates. So this is the main page. You can see here you have the Edwards Family Exhibit.omeka.net. That is the URL. There is a page right here at the very beginning that just says how to use this archive, and it gives you a number of different ways to navigate the archive. So one of the first ways is that there are collections that I created. This is basically like an index of so you have things like, this is all grouped by subject. So you have things like Lou Edwards, his letters and photos, things about him as a businessman, politician, and his murder and the aftermath of that murder. And then you have things like Claire Edwards' letters, memoirs, photos, etc. And this is how it's sort of organized at the moment. These categories can be changed if we need to at any point, and certainly things can be easily added to them. So what happens if you click on one of these archives? So if you click on Long Beach Corruption and History, then it will take you to this tab. And you can see in this tab that it has a lot of information. It gives you basically the title and the creator, but then it also just gives you a whole bunch of items. So in this case, you have things like 18 seized in Long Beach gambling raid. You can click on that, opens it up there. It gives you a bunch of data, so information about the actual file, and there's a description. There are subject tags here, it tells you where it was published, the date, etc. And if you click on the actual file there, then it will give you the piece itself that has been scanned in. You can make that bigger so that you can read it, and you can print it out, you can save it, any of those things. So another way that you can navigate the archive is to actually look at the exhibits. You can see this here. If you click on this, it will say browse the exhibits. And so far there are only 3 exhibits, but you can take them and take a look at them and sort of see the greatest hits, kind of the highlights of the different exhibits. So something like this one on Claire Edwards have a bunch of different highlights of things that, like her memoir highlights, some letter highlights, because she wrote so many letters. And then these are themed around different things that she talked about a lot. So things like the war years, grief, othering, etc. Go and you look at these exhibits, you can see that it's kind of like when you walk into a museum. Think about when you look at the kind of little cards and stuff that they have, the explanatory cards on the wall. That's basically what this is. So you can look at the exhibits this way. It gives you some summaries, some commentary, a lot of which is written by my dad. And then you can still go and look at the objects. So if you click on them there, it's going to take you back to one of these similar pages you saw before. And you can click on the file. It will open it up for you, and you can read through it. So like this is, for example, the interview that Lori and Wendy did in 1983 that has a lot of description, things that they're talked about, a lot of things that she hadn't talked about before. So that's an example of another way to navigate the archive. And finally, the last way that I'm going to show you how to navigate the archive is to search the archive, which would make sense. So if you go to search, there's a number of different ways that you can search. This is a very comprehensive sort of interface for archiving all kinds of things. Museums actually use Omeka. So you can do things like you can search for keywords, like that I wanted to look for anything that involves Lucy. and it's going to bring up a bunch of items. So it's probably picking up on the tags here. So this is tagged Lucy here. You have letters mostly here, it looks like. There's a tribute by Lucy to Lou Edwards. And so you can go through it like this if you'd like and find all the different items related to it. You can just do a keyword search. You can also narrow things by specific fields. So if you want to do things like, I want to search only by things that are written in 1943, you can do that. Just do search for items at the bottom, and it's giving you a whole bunch of different things. I'm actually not sure how it did this search because it came up with a lot of different things. So it may be a little vague there on how it did it. But you can experiment, kind of try different things. You can do things like search by specific exhibits. You can look at tags, which are one way that I've indexed this. And yeah, you can just kind of knock yourself out trying things out. And you're welcome to email me, and I am happy to get on Zoom and help guide you through it if you're still having issues. So basically, this is the archive. It is a labor of love. This was a lot of intense work to put all of this together. I will make a disclaimer that some of the photos are not really great quality, mostly because I was working from, in some cases, copy of the actual photos. My dad, I know, gave some originals to different members of the family, distributed some of it. So some of the things that we're working from were not the best quality. But our hope is that you'll still be able to get a sense. The letters were the originals. Those are at really good quality. It's mostly some of the photos that are not great. And my hope is that this will be able to be something that we can continue to update, and it will just change and morph over time the way that the family does. But in the meantime, I hope that this gives you a window into a part of our family's history that you may not know very much about, because I know for me, I learned a lot.